Learn how to transform this color into an amazing bright blonde with dimension. You will learn how to brighten, blend, and add dimension with highlights and zone toning, whilst maintaining a beautiful bright blonde color. We start the color application in the front hairline, taking fine weaved baby lights, less than 1 centimeter apart, following the hairline. I have sliced the finest section following the hairline. I'm now weaving a fine baby weave, elevating the hair straight up before placing it down onto the foil, using my middle finger to hold the foil in place whilst applying the color to the root area. I now use my hand as a board to help emulsify and press the color into the hair before closing my foil. I take my second section less than half a centimeter away from my first, continuing to take fine, clean weaves. Weaving these sections will blend the highlights better into the client's natural color and hairline, creating a better grow out for your client and adding more dimension. I have started the color in the front hairline as I intend for the face frame and money piece to be the brightest zone in this color. My body position is also standing to the front. This can help aid in avoiding over highlighting in the back zone. We continue the face frame behind the ear in the nape hairline. This will brighten and continue the face frame when you or your client wears the hair over the shoulder, blending the money piece and face frame highlights into the length that falls over the shoulder. I continue with standard weaves in the nape zone, increasing dimension. You can choose to paint straight up to the root or use a backcombing technique to add more dimension. This depends on how your client prefers the grow out. Because my client's nape zone is much darker, I'll be working with sections much closer together to help build up the blonde highlights in this zone. Each new section in the back zone is slightly wider than the previous, gradually increasing dimension, working up the head shape. We continue this process working with fine, clean sections. Whenever coloring hair, it's really important to understand the haircut. The intention of adding a face frame, money piece, curtain bang, color application is to highlight the corner of the haircut. A lot of haircuts will have a corner in this back nape zone that falls over the shoulder, and some layered haircuts will continue this into the front zone. However, when long layered haircuts have a money piece or face framing cut in, it's important for us to highlight high up enough to make sure we color enough brightness. And it's also important that we connect the corner in the back zone that falls over the front shoulder, because this will create the brightest face framing money piece. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions regarding this. Let me know in the comments below if this is similar to how you apply your face frame and money piece highlights. I'm using Weller's Blonder Bleach with a 20 volume peroxide. In my tip outs, I'm going to be using 40 volume, but for a very short amount of time. and only in the virgin hair in the back zone. Starting to get closer to the curvature of the head, this section will be my last before I start taking larger pivots, working back from the same point in the front hairline into the back zone. This will help to create more dimension as we work up the head shape, maintaining and increasing the brightness around the face frame. Once we reach the occipital bone, we start pivoting our sections in the back zone. This will connect our highlights whilst creating more depth and dimension. This will stop us from overfoiling this zone. We continue the same process in the money piece, following our client's hairline, connecting this zone into the previous sections, working around the head shape. Continuing to add dimension in the back zone with larger pivoting sections. In the money piece, I take fine sections very close to the previous, pivoting from the first foil. This will help to create a brighter result in the front of the color application. We continue the same process, working up the head shape, taking diagonal back sections, continuing our weaves, and taking larger pivots in the back zone. For blonde or more lived in and more dimensional color applications, I would apply a lot less foils. If you'd like to see this in the future, let me know in the comments below. And be sure to like and subscribe to my channel if you appreciate and value my work. If you'd like to learn long layered haircuts that work incredibly well with this type of color application, be sure to watch the playlist in the card above. I now start taking larger pivoting sections when we start foiling over the parietal ridge or curvature of the head shape. You will notice my pivoting sections continue to get larger, allowing for more dimension in this zone, whilst joining my money piece foils to build brightness around the face. We continue this process on both sides. I take a larger pivoted section for my last and take a fine sparkle weave right on the hairline. This is the finest possible weave, even though we're going to be tipping out. The last weave joins straight back into the back zone. Even though we want dimension here, this will help with the grow out to blend the color through as the zone tone fades out and when we get regrowth. So this is the result of my bright blonde color application. It does look like a full head of foils, and I probably would charge a full head of foils for this, including the tip out. We complete the foiling application with tip outs. I am simply taking the hair that is left in between the foils in the nape zone, back combing before lightening, creating a seamless blend. Tipping out will increase the bright blonde result. If necessary, do this in the front zone as well. My client already had existing ends in the face frame. We now repeat the exact same process on the opposite side to complete the foiling process before moving on to the zone tone application. We now map out the face frame with a high diagonal back section from either slightly above or below the center of the money piece to behind the ear on both sides. We start with applying a shadow root. I am using equal parts 9G and 80 in Redken Shades EQ. Applying a shadow root in the face frame is optional. We now apply a shadow root into the rest of the hair. I am using equal parts 8N, 8V and 8GG. Working with vertical sections will ensure that you can work cleanly and keeping your darker tones away from the areas that are supposed to stay lighter. We continue this process until all the root area in the back zone is covered with this color. Then we work into the top of the head zone, ensuring that all the roots in the top zone have the shadow root applied. Once I've completed applying the shadow root to the root, I use my brush to stretch out the shadow root into the mid-lens. I'm now applying 9GB to the mid-lens through to the ends. Once I've applied this color, I continue to brush through the shadow root, blending the shadow root into the mid-length and ends. I complete the zone tone application in the face frame using equal parts 9V, 9G and clear to create the lightest and brightest creamy color in the face frame. I process the toner for approximately 10 to 15 minutes. I'm now styling, doing a twisty blowout and some messy beach waves. If you'd like to learn how to style like this, be sure to watch the previous tutorial. The card is linked above and in the description below. This is my bright blonde color application with dimension. If you like this tutorial, be sure to watch this one next.